And it says we are live. It's Thursday night. I'm here. You're beautiful. That must mean it's time for GotBot Goes Live. Of course, I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share. Of course, subscribe. And while you're at it, light up my baby. Hit the notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through spring. Or, of course, you can always hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And we do certainly have some news to cover tonight, not the least of which is going to be Legacy Breakdown. I do have a few new listings. I don't think that they've come up yet. One in particular is of interest. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We also have some news, images, notes coming out of Takara Tomy Hobby Expo. So we're going to talk about that, some third-party offerings, and we're going to talk about that. I'm just going to get things set up. I hope you guys are having a tremendous week so far here in Canada. For many of us, not everybody, but for many, this is a long weekend because tomorrow, September 30th, is the Day of Truth and Reconciliation. I'm just going to touch on that for a moment because it is how can I put this? It is a socially important day, certainly. So we will kind of touch on that. Let's see here. What am I doing here? Hey Marcus, hey Lance. So you might notice that I'm wearing a shirt. It is my Every Child Matters shirt. And it is in recognition of the Day of Truth and Reconciliation here in Canada. It is held in September because September is when school starts. It is held the 30th to give staff and students time to kind of settle into the school year. And it is also known in certain groups, I want to say the Creed, but I could be wrong about that. And I apologize if I am, that September is known as the Crying Month. So it's very fitting, and the time was chosen very specifically. It is done as a day of, I guess, honoring those who survived the residential school system and remembering those who did not get to go home. Basically, this is a system that looked to really strip Indigenous groups and people of their identity and kind of make them more acclimated to European ways. They lived at schools that really didn't have very good treatment. Let's leave it at that. You can certainly, and I encourage you to research it. Over the course of about 160 years, somewhere in the vicinity of 150,000 children went through these schools that were, let's just say, it's not good. It's not good. And the stories would probably send shivers up your spine. And that's the truth of it. And the reason we have this day is so we can really think about that and honor that and know that we can't have this happen to anybody, any more groups ever in our world, not just here in our country, but in our world as citizens of the world. Something like this should never happen again. Remember, if you do go and look up the history of it, keep in mind that all of these numbers that we're talking about are children, not adults, children. So that would probably put it in perspective for you. There's been a lot of, ills in the world where groups have been targeted unfairly, let's say. This is another one of them, and it's not as old as you might think. The last of these schools closed in 1996. So all of us today, usually when we think about these sort of days and these sort of things, we're thinking back 100 years, a couple of 100 years, but really we're thinking back here somewhere in the vicinity of about 25 years, 26 years, so it's fairly recent, fairly raw. And tomorrow also a lot of TV stations and Canadian radio stations are having a day to listen, to celebrate Indigenous artists and musicians as well. and kind of what they add to our culture overall. Okay, I'm not going to belabor that anymore, but it is very important. It is very important to our family because we do have family members who attended those schools. So it is something that we very much do recognize. And that's what this shirt is for. And I wanted to wear it for you guys tonight in recognition of that for the day tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow we're also going to have APC Arachnid's review go up. So she's coming tomorrow and what I think of her in comparison to the original Transformers Prime Deluxe. Let's see who else is in here and what you guys have been saying so far, because I know I kind of went on a little explanation there about where this comes from. And I don't usually do kind of more politicized things like that, but I thought it was important this time. I certainly encourage you to look up the Day of Truth and Reconciliation yourself tomorrow. Hey, Waspinator. Hey, Jay. Yeah, a little bit early today. Hey, Devlin. Pretty good day, actually. Pretty good day. Hey, Ultra Megatronus. So we may have some people who will come in here as we go. Like I said, we're going to talk about legacy breakdown. We're going to talk about a few, a peppering, if you will, of listings that came my way that I have not yet heard of. Not to say they haven't come up and I missed them or forgot about them, but I don't think I've heard of these ones yet. I think they're new listings. We'll see for sure. We'll talk about Takara Tomy's Hobby Expo. That's what it's called, and some third-party offerings. So now that we have kind of people filtering in, let's start right away with the one that a lot of people would want to talk about, that being the legacy breakdown. And I think it's awful. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I think it's awful. It's not the right car. It is clearly a Ferrari and not a Lambo. Why they couldn't at least remold the car parts is beyond me. Some people said, well, it's a mold reuse. What do you expect? I expect for $40 a deluxe, I expect a lot more. I expect pretty much everybody to have individual molds. If you want to charge that much, fine. If you want to do mold reuses that are lazy, then the thing should only cost $20. You're not putting anything into it. And some people said, well, he has a new chest and a new head. Big deal. So what? The car should have been reshelled. I hate this. This is the Combiner Wars one. I don't like this mold at all, largely because of the way the pelvis and the hips go. I can't stand it. But at least this is closer. It's still not right, but at least this is closer to a Lamborghini Countach than what the legacy thing is. And at least all of the white, though it's like more of a creamy white, at least it's all the same color. The paint on the new one doesn't match the plastic. I think it looks awful. I think it's an absolute failure. No wonder it was left to the end. Also, the whole idea going through apparently was that certain parts of the limbs were going to homage different universes. This is 100% like going for a G1 aesthetic. It is not the homage to Transformers Prime that a lot of people said it was going to be, at least even with the head sculpt. So I saw it and I was like, wow, no wonder they saved this for last. It's an abstract failure. I detest it. I have to say, I don't like anything about it. And the robot is smaller than this. Like, it's smaller than the Combiner Wars robot. So small robot, the colors don't match. It's not the right car. Sorry, I'm not a fan. Now, a couple of people said, it's only going to be on the back of the leg anyway. Mine won't. I use mine. I use mine for stop motion. Season 3 is going to largely focus on combiners. So yeah, they'll be off. I don't know. Maybe I'll think different with it in hand, but for what I have seen so far, and knowing that I'm not a particularly huge fan of Wild Rider, I don't think it's great. It's not bad, but it's just, here's Combiner Wars again. Like, it's, if you saw my review, it's pretty much the exact same engineering. The chest is slightly different because now instead of the chest flipping up over the face flips into the chest. Otherwise, it's the same thing. The breakdown that's coming out in Legacy is not this engineering. It's like the, Light Speed or Wild Rider, or who else used the cars? Prowl, Smokescreen. It's basically that exact same engineering. So, except smaller. I'm not impressed. I gotta say, if you are cool, I'm happy for you, but I don't think it's a good breakdown at all. Not at all. Not a fan. Legacy Wave 3 deluxes are out in the Philippines. Word is that October 1st, which is coming very, very soon, Saturday, as a matter of fact, that there will be certain stores and retailers that will be releasing Wave 3 then. I guess it could be true. It would shock me since really Wave 2 hasn't really hit here yet. I managed to get mine from a local store, and I know some Game Stops have gotten Tarantulas, but that's about it. I haven't really seen Wave 2 otherwise. Let's see. We saw a video that kind of, I guess, introduced us to Mandroid or Dr. Marion or whatever his name is. He hates the name Mandroid. It seems like he's going to be the human antagonist this time, very akin to Silas from Transformers Prime, except Mandroid, because he hates his name and they always use his name, is going to be a little more comedic. But I think he's still going to end up trying, at least, to be a major human threat. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. We saw some images of the upcoming Legacy Inferno. Ooh, baby, looks real good. I'm not gonna lie. I like the color layout and where it is. I like the movable jaw on the head because his head is so iconic and it's so detailed and all of those sharp teeth and stuff. You had to have an opening jaw for him. You just did. I know it's not on everybody, but I'm glad it is here. I think that the ant mode looks good. I think the robot mode looks good. I hope that he feels robust and solid like Tarantulas. I hope that we're not let down. Right now, I still love the original, but I am impressed with what I'm seeing coming out of Legacy when it comes to Beast Wars Inferno. And the more images we see, the happier I am. Starting tomorrow, we have Pulsecon, the Transformers stuff, because they're covering a whole lot of franchises from Indiana Jones to Star Wars to G.I. Joe and everything in between. Transformers will take the stage at some point tomorrow. Word is that for every viewer who is watching Pulsecon, they will donate, I believe, 2 toys to Tots, Toys for Tots, a great cause, up to 60,000 products. Now, that's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cause. If you can just donate 60,000 toys and still, maintain a profit, then that says something about what your price structure is like as well. Just throwing that out there. But it's a great cause. I don't tend to watch these because Pulse doesn't service me. So what's the point? It's a waste of my time. But I might tune in for a few minutes if I get a chance tomorrow, just so they have to send another couple, right? So we'll see how it goes. I think that that's a good cause, regardless of the reason, though. Obviously, that's a good cause, regardless of the reason. Speaking of good causes, some people have asked me, and I really, really appreciate everybody who reached out and wondered how we fared with Hurricane Fiona. Luckily, Fiona wasn't centered on my portion of the province. We live on the east coast of the island portion of Newfoundland. The storm really hit the west coast, pretty much decimating the community of Port aux Basques. And there's a lot of fundraising and whatnot going on to try and offer relief to those people. It is estimated that damages and losses in that community range between $300 to $700 million. That's a community decimated. The province of Nova Scotia was also fairly hard hit, and specifically the community of Truro, though I know it's not the only one. I know Sydney got hit as well. I know another couple of communities certainly did. It was bad. It was bad. And right now, I would like to also kind of offer my thoughts and prayers to everybody, in Florida. And I hear that I believe Virginia has declared a state of emergency for Hurricane Ian. Honestly, after our area of the world just going through Fiona, if you're actually watching this and you're in a safe place and you're in Florida and you're able to avoid the storm or be safe from it, or you're just hunkering her down, please know that a lot of us here, honestly, our thoughts and prayers are definitely with you, because a lot of us can relate. It's a scary thing. Mother Nature, man, I'm telling you, we got to learn to respect her. You hear a lot of people say, like, climate change isn't a real thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this is the proof of it, because in my growing up, we did not have storms, not to this magnitude. Now we are. So, so there you go. Pulsecon as well is going to have a lot of guests. So if you're a wrestling fan, Sergeant Slaughter is going to be a guest there at some point through the day. And Mr. Wrestling, or sorry, I'm saying Mr. Wrestling, Johnny Wrestling himself, Johnny Gargano, is going to be there. So that's pretty cool for anybody who is a wrestling fan as well. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of influencers and stuff there. I got to be honest, I didn't recognize 99% of the names. It meant nothing to me. New Age Jetfire. We've seen images now for two versions of this guy, the cartoon accurate version and the toy accurate version that has a lot more red. The toy accurate version seems to have an alternate head or face mask or something, but you can take it off and have the cartoon accurate head on him. I saw both. Input prefers the toy accurate colors with a lot more red lines and some black detailing and whatnot. We all know what the G1 looked like. I prefer the tune accurate look with the clean white body and a few silver and red highlights, really. Either one. Either one is great. I think this stands somewhere around 7 or 8, maybe even 9 inches in height. It is a legend scale Jetfire. I think 9 would be maybe a little too big. I feel like 7.5, like Voyager size, would be about right. But either way, it's an impressive looking piece, and New Age does a bang up job. We all know this. So good on him, I say. Honestly, good on him. We're going to go over here. I'm going to check in with you guys before I continue on with the news. Let's go back up and check in with you guys here and see what you have been saying and who I have missed, because I know I've missed people coming in here, and I apologize for that. Breakdown is a disappointment. I agree, Jay. I mean, I'm sure he'll function fine, but it's one of those, like, you have to squint and put your head on an angle to really see that it's breakdown as far as I'm concerned. Hey, Joel. Hey, Brian. Having a good week. Hasbro being lazy. Yeah, you're right. It's barely a remold. It's barely a remold. Hey, DJ. Input. He's the same car as Sideswipe and Sunstreaker. Exactly. Caldeo, you don't need to explain. I went on a couple of minutes early, actually. The breakdown is a real disappointment. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, Input. Brian says they saved the worst for last. Yeah, they really did. They left breakdown for last without any leaks on purpose. Well, I mean, it's because it's so bad. It's so lazy. And I'm sorry, for the prices that we're paying, there's no reason that that shouldn't have been remolded other than, oh, we can greedy take more profit and more profit. Like, I'm sorry, but the value is not close to being there. Hey, Shansi. Release the Snyder Cut of Breakdown. Oh, cardboard bots. Oh, that's so good. Yes, they should. You're right. Wonder how many people will sell their Legacy Minosaur. I think it's going to depend on just how solid it is once it is combined with all of the pieces on it. I guess it depends on what you value most, right? I think that's what it's going to boil down to. But I'm not going to lie, Input. I think that more people than you believe, or than some people would believe, will sell their Legacy Minosaur. Some people will keep them. I'll have to do the comparison when the time comes. But I can tell you this: if this is the path that they're going, if I had one combiner from Combiner Wars that I wasn't happy with, it was Minosaur, and I was still okay with him. If I feel like this is better and decide to keep it, cool. If I don't and I get rid of it, cool. But if this is the new norm for combiners, I'm not in for doing any more. I'm happy with my Combiner Wars Superion and my Bruticus. My gut told me not to go in on this Minosaur, but I took a risk, and I don't feel like it's paying off. Not for the price that it is so far. It's okay, but sorry, the prices are just. It's not that much more value for me. It is what it is, right? Funny how everyone hates to see breakdown, and I just got the DX9 breakdown to become a custom War for Cybertron Games sideswipe, and at 50% done. Right there, you go. No one until something better comes out. I just remembered. You're saying no one until something better comes out. I would argue Combiner Wars is better. You might have to do a little bit of work, but I think the limbs are infinitely better than the limbs on this. The torso, not so much, but the limbs of Combiner Wars, infinitely better. I just remember from the last stream, Wrecker Hook is also the name of a G2 Decepticon tow truck which could mean we could get a RID 2001 tow line repaint. Just maybe. That's a lot of speculation, Keldeo. More than I do. Lazy spoiler on Breakdown 2. Oh, yeah. I did you see Cardboard Bots? I replied to Lazy when he was talking about it, and I said, what they did here was lazy. See what I did there? Right? And he was right. Like, it's obviously a Ferrari, and he's a car guy. Like, that must grate on him like crazy. They should have at least made the spoiler two pieces. Yes, the spoiler should have been two pieces. Why is it one piece in his hand like a messed up boomerang or something? I hate it. I really do. I think if you get it, cut the spoiler in half and just put it in there. Speaking of which, and I think Input pointed this out, if you put the spoiler in there, you got nowhere to put his blasters because the two holes on the back that Wild Rider uses are now taken up with this stupid looking spoiler. Uh, 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 sorry, I don't support this at all. I can tell you now, Breakdown will not score well. I think it's an utter failure. I'm okay with a white breakdown. He'll probably yellow anyway. That's the other thing. Input said it yesterday. Cardboard Bots. He said, "How long do you think it's going to take for this to yellow?" Good question. I agree. So they're going with the Dr. Eggman, Dr. Robotnik route with Mandroid, where he can be a serious threat while also being comedic. Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of exactly where they're going with it, or trying to go with it. Will they succeed with it? I don't know. We'll see how the show plays out. Inferno's beast mode is very clean. I agree, Jay. I agree. I think I might be smitten with Inferno. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it's my Every Child Matters shirt. Actually, I have two. I kind of got them by accident. I got one last year through my school, and I didn't realize that Starscream Wife had also ordered me one. So I actually have two. Hey, Blue. Mandroid is a very lazy name. It is a very lazy name, but that's Hasbro's new model. Let's be lazy. I live in Port Basque from time to time. I mean, what happened in Port Basque? And like again, I encourage you, like search it up. Port Portaux Basque Basques. Fiona and homes. I mean, washed out to sea, gone. Roads destroyed. I mean, it's wild. It's wild. The power of nature, man. I'm telling you. A lot of people see this stuff and they say, "Oh, it's so sad." I thought it was terrifying. I thought it was very scary to see just how much power Mother Nature can have. And Cardboard Bot said it there. Donate to the Red Cross if you can, because those people need all the help they can get, especially with winter coming. I mean, we're about to enter October, and now they have nowhere to live. I'm just saying, right? While Hurricane Ian head my way tomorrow, and I got to work tomorrow. So wish me luck. Absolutely, Keldeo. Where I said it earlier, after going through Fiona here, we're very much keeping an eye on Ian, and our thoughts and our minds are definitely with you guys. On the southeast coast of the United States, absolutely there. Everyone learned to swim, right? Red Cross, what? Sues the water out of the house, dude. Okay, I don't know what that means. Hey, Sovereign Knight, NYC doesn't get hit with storms like that. My prayers go out. Yeah, be glad you don't. Honestly, Jay, they're frightening when they're coming, and like the thing is, especially when it's water, there's nothing you can do. All you can do is wait and watch. There's nothing. There's nothing you can do for water. New Age Jetfire looks a little strange to me in alt mode. Nose seems too long. I don't know. I didn't find that. I thought he looked great in both modes. I mean, to each their own. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But man, I thought he was great personally. Hey Razor Bear, thank whoever. I got extremely lucky with Ian. I got limited rain and winds. Southwest Florida got bombarded, as did north of us. I was thinking about you, Razor Bear. Honestly, through work today, I was thinking about you and how you were faring down there, buddy. Hey, Dragonfly. New Age does do a good job, just that jetpack to move forward a little, but makes the nose. I don't agree. I thought he looked great in both modes. It doesn't look too long to me, but I mean, if you feel it, you feel it. But I think the design is great as it is, personally. The gang's all here. Oh yeah, R.I.P. Coolio. Moment of silence for Coolio. If you didn't hear, Coolio passed away yesterday at the age of 59. The Lazy Eyebrow says that they should have Give him breakdown a Countach front end. At the very least, that's what they should have done. Yes. And there was no reason to. All you had to do is literally remold the hood. You were too lazy to even be bothered to do that. I think Minnesota is going to be pretty good. I think he's going to be solid, but here's the thing. I'm really struggling, even when I see it now and all the bots are on him, I'm really struggling to see it as anything more than Motormaster wearing clothes. I don't see it as a combiner. Maybe I'll think different in hand. But I do think it's going to be solid, I guess. We'll see. Skip Menasor, he's a disappointment to me. I get that. If I had Legacy Menasor, I'll sell him for a King's Ransom. I don't think you're going to get a King's Ransom for him, Blue. Sorry. I don't think he's that good. Not to get a King's Ransom. How hard would it be to just remold the front of the car? It's not hard. Everybody keeps saying, why couldn't they do that? It's not that they couldn't. It's not that it's hard. It's that they couldn't be bothered. Because fans will buy it anyway. They've jacked up the prices and fans still buy it and justify it. Justify being taken advantage of. They are, and I've been saying it for a while now, they're testing how many limits they can push to maximize their profit with as little investment as possible. That's the ideal sweet spot for a business. We make the most profit and got to put in the least amount of effort and finance, right? That's what they're looking for. It's up to us as consumers to hold them accountable. And we as a fandom need to start doing that a lot better if we want our franchise that we know and love to keep surviving into perpetuity, right? 87 days of Christmas, yeah. No parking means no parking. Legacy then does Bruticus Maximus because it only uses 3 molds. The 2 molds are just repaints because quick, easy money. I don't know if anybody would buy a Bruticus Maximus, honestly. Now that we know from Combiner Wars that they are capable of doing a proper Bruticus, I think people would want a proper Bruticus. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. But I feel like if they went that route, I think that pretty much universally people would say pass. That's not a proper Bruticus. Maybe I'm wrong. It'd be interesting to see. I wouldn't be in for it. I have no interest in it whatsoever. But I didn't back when it was first released. I remember seeing Bruticus Maximus and saying, that's supposed to be Bruticus. It's kind of a lazy thing, but I get it. Only 3 molds because of the remolds. I get it. I get where you're coming from with it for sure. Toy World should have come out with their Combiner Wars torsos. Yes, I agree. We wouldn't even have to have this conversation because if I had that better torso for those two, I'd be like, I'm done. I'm cool with combiners, man. Totally, the spoiler looks like a little serving tray. It does. How is that spoiler a weapon? It's laughable. I agree. He needs a towel and a bow tie. Hey, Infinity. The spoiler thing is absolutely useless. I agree. And he has useless in all caps. I really wish Magic Square and New Age would go WFC scale. I agree, Sovereign. They do so good. I'd love to see that engineering and whatnot applied at the kind of higher scale. Speaking of New Age, I'll mention this now from the news. Yet another use of Lucifer, another use of that Starscream mold. This one is battle damaged. Again, it looks great, but I can't help but look at that mold now and think to myself, man, there's got to be some wild mold degradation. I mean, I don't know how many Seekers New Age has done with that mold, but it's a lot of Seekers. That mold has gotten its money and its use a billion times over for sure. And don't get me wrong, I think the robot and plane mode, I think they're both splendid. I wish we had mainline Seekers that good, but it gets to a point where, man, they got to be starting to get loose. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But if they're not getting loose and there hasn't been mold degradation, good on them. What a quality mold you must have then. Hey, Andrew. And I'm out. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means, but all right. I saw that someone made Combiner Wars limb adapters for Legacy Menasor. Yep, that is an option. I mentioned that when I looked at Motormaster. Tarantulas is my favorite Legacy figure so far. I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's well up there, Jay. Here's the thing. I was so against him when I thought he was a reuse of Black Arachnia. But after I had them in hand and after I realized how robust the plastic felt, and I was lucky, all of my legs, my spider legs, all of them are tolerance well. None of mine fall off, though apparently that's an issue with the ball pegs. I love the guy. I'm really smitten by him, which I wasn't expecting. So I'm really happy about that. Maybe a third party will make a front end Lambo piece for breakdown. Maybe, but I've already spent, or I will already spend $40 on it. I shouldn't have to spend more to get the thing that they should have done right to begin with. My G-axis hips are kind of turning green. That's unfortunate. That has not happened to me yet. There we go. And I'm also going to do that. Let's see here. Where did that come down from? My plan is just to buy a second drag strip and Wild Rider from Ross at discount. Honestly, Andrew, like I could believe that. Not necessarily a bad idea. I can certainly understand why you would do that. Are you smitten with nice Night Countess, Dennis? We'll talk about that tomorrow in the review. I'm not going to give anything away, but that's a good question, Brian. All I'm going to say is watch tomorrow, and you'll see what I think of her. To be honest, I'm tempted to sell what I have for Legacy Minosaur and say screw it. I mean, I get it input. Honestly, I get it. And I don't mind my Combiner Wars one. I keep going back to it. I don't hate it. It's as simple as that. Let's see. Got you a helmet, a Black Series helmet. Okay. I don't know anything about Black Series, so it's not going to mean much to me. Hey, Ken. Glad you're able to find some time with the Bambino to come in here, buddy. I think Superion is next up. I mean, fine. I'm not remotely interested in it because I think that the Combiner War Superion is a perfect combiner. I said it in 2015, and I'm saying it now. I don't see any flaws with that combiner at all. So I have no reason to replace it. Came in late. Are you talking about breakdown? We were. Yeah, we sure were. And everybody's saying the same thing as you. What a bummer. My Iron Factory Bruticus is my go-to. I can understand that. I'm sticking with my Combiner Wars aerial bots. Me too. I know you don't read IDW, but Thundercracker is a movie producer. I'm done. As soon as I hear Thundercracker as a movie producer, no, he's not. I'm done. I'm not even reading the rest of the comments. Sorry. God, I hate IDW so much. They're so bad. Their ideas are so bad. So bad. I really did my Jinbao. What? I really dig my Jinbao Devastator. Picked it over Combiner Wars. Combiner Wars just looked off to me. I can't agree. I think that the Combiner Wars Devastator, it looks like he jumped off the screen. He does. Not necessarily saying the Constructicons do, but Devastator looks like he jumped off the screen, and that's what I wanted. I don't think there's a Devastator going out there for looks wise that comes remotely close. Though I think there are a lot that function much better. So there you go. If you're happy, though, you win. That's the end of it, right? Now, funny enough, I will be taking a look at the Jinbao coming up, but a little bit different than what other people have done, because when I look at the Jinbao, it's going to have some custom 3D parts on it that changes it just a little bit. The story behind Bruticus Maximus and the Energon combiners was that they ran low on a budget. Of course, they ran low on a budget, which is why they used two of the same mold. Yeah, I have no doubt. That sounds like what they would do. I'm not a big fan of people ripping off intellectual property, but Beast Wars Oversized Menosaur is such a favorite for me. It's almost War for Cybertron scale. Come on, go for the extra mile. I don't like. I want something that's Combiner War scale. Simple as that. I think that's the right scale. I think Superion is going to be next year's what? Megatronus, probably. And I know I'm skipping some stuff here, guys, but I do want to get to the news. I bet if they release G2 colors Menosaur in Legacy on Pulse, they might. I didn't like G2 when it was G2 myself, but I mean, to each their own. My tarantulas legs are just fine. Time to report the spammer. Yeah, I'm dealing with it as I get down to it, guys. I'm glad, though, that you guys take some action stuff, too. Out of buying the rest of Venusaur. Yeah, I understand now, Andrew. I didn't know what it was in response to earlier, but I got you, buddy. I just had to catch up to where you're to. You were already in the future. I was in the past. Drag strip can only fit on one arm. That's true too. Actually, I have seen it though, where people have put the Shadow Striker or whatever it is, Shadow Strip on the other arm. I don't know how they're doing it. I love Night Countess. My bulkhead should be here by the weekend. Cool. Got the Combiner Wars Minister with a torso stabilization kit. May let it go if I find a good third-party KO. Fair enough. If Legacy Metroplex ends up at Rossi for like $69, I'll care then. The Legacy Metroplex, I saw one today at GameStop, and they had it for $269.99, a better price than the other prices that I've heard, but I mean, still pretty expensive. Just for comparison's sake, Black Zarek from GameStop here is $189.99. Metroplex, $269.99. I don't know if he's that much better. I mean, it's not the Metroplex for me, but for anybody who wants it, cool. I never liked IDW. I got rid of all my Combiner Wars combiners, so I'm starting over. Ugh. Good luck with that, Jay. I mean, here, to redo all of those would be triple the price per combiner. I'm not doing it. Hasbro's products are not that good. They're just not. Their quality has gone down the toilet. By the way, speaking of quality down the toilet, a brand new yellowing that has not come to my ears before. Apparently, the thighs of the, I guess it was Generation Selects, G2 Megatron also turn yellow. And when I talk about the G2 Megatron, I mean the one that has the purple and green camo motif. His thighs, I've seen them as yellow can get, sir. Not on mine, but I saw the picture just a couple of days ago. That's the newest, added to a very long and growing list of yellowing Transformers. Actually, it's the thighs, it's the shoulder hinge, and it's the neck hinge. Oddly enough, the feet stayed gray. Go figure. Thundercracker, prevent a nuke from destroying a city. Give him his flowers. Okay. Hope we get an SS86 Snarl revealed this weekend. Yeah, that'd be nice to actually see a Snarl. I agree. No third-party Devastators are screen accurate. No, they're not. I would prefer Bruticus to be the next combiner. I can see that. Absolutely. I love Bruticus, but I mean, I'm really not blown away, and I'm not that impressed with the Legacy Minosaur. Not for the price. If it was a reasonable price, I might be, but for the investment for the whole combiner, I'm like, and then there's still parts left over. Like, you don't even use all the parts. Like, sorry, I think it's a fail, man, but I mean, to each their own, right? I mean, Combiner Wars Devastator would be much better, but you need to get the DNA DK1 Devastator upgrade kit to make Mixmaster look correct to the cartoon. No, you don't. The foot is the foot. Just color the front of it silver. Boom, you're done. No, you don't need a DK nothing for it. I don't agree at all. I think he's perfect. I think it is a perfect representation of Devastator. I said it in 2015. I said it when I done a re-review in 2019 when he was released. I still feel it today. He is the only Devastator that I look at and I get the feels of, man, this is Devastator. I see a lot of other cool Devastators, but none of them really feel like Devastator to me. They all feel like Devastator-ish. I'm not saying don't be happy with your Jin Bao. It's phenomenal. But there's nothing you're going to say that's going to make me agree that anything in terms of looking accurate comes anywhere in the ballpark close to what Combiner Wars does for looking accurate. I'm not talking anything about functionality. I'm talking about looks. As a matter of fact, I would say the Takara one is the ultimate in accuracy. But, you know, it is what it is, right? Combiner Wars Devastator looks better than he did on screen. I'm still looking for Velocitron Crasher. Same here. Apparently, it came out in a couple of the Western provinces. I mean, that doesn't mean we're going to get it anytime soon, if at all. But I've been looking, but I haven't seen anything yet. Still 200 in the US. I assume that's for a Titan. More yellowing. Yep, more yellowing. SS86 Snarl would be cool, but I still haven't even seen Sludge. No, honestly, I haven't seen Sludge either. What's crazy is that only the legacy figures are the only ones yellowing. Studio Series figures are fine, which is interesting. Although, that being said, I have heard of yellowing issues on Sludge. Now, I only saw one picture, but I did hear it that one time. And Spike. Spike apparently has the yellowing issue. I forgot about that. Let's see. And I know I'm missing some stuff here, guys, but again, I want to get stuff sort of finished, right? If Hasbro continues the combiners in the style of Minosaur, how do they do characters like Silverbolt as a commander? It's going to be a lot of parts forming, as far as I'm concerned. I am calling yellowing the rust virus. I could see that. I have 95% of Studio Series figures and no sign of yellowing. I mean, I don't have any yellowing on my Spike either, but I've seen the pictures. I think PPR did, if I'm not mistaken. So I've seen it, but I haven't had it. Flowers is term for respect. Okay. I just checked my G2 Megatron. His thighs are slightly yellowed. Sorry, man. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. I miss my Unite Warriors Devastator. I had to sell it years ago due to cash shortage. That's rough. Spike yellowing? Yeah. The blue apparently yellows on him. Nothing of value was lost. My Spike is still the same. I was lucky enough to find both Grimlock and Sludge on shelves. Got Slag a week ago through secondhand because I could just not find them anywhere. Fair enough. I seen yellowing on 86 Grimlock's nose too. So there you go. Lance has heard about it on Grimlock. Okay, let's run through the rest of the news here somewhat quickly. Let's do this sheet next and get through this one. Target Geek Out. I have no idea what this is, but apparently they had or have the buzzworthy Bumblebee Nest Ratchet, which is basically the Studio Series Ratchet, mostly in gray. Nest Bone Crusher, again, the Bone Crusher, instead of being like his taupey beige weird color, he's now kind of gray. And Studio Series 44, Dark of the Moon, Optimus Prime with trailer. That thing does look pretty cool. Different price points, of course. One being, I think, $24.99, another being like $33.99 or something, and the other being $55.99, if I'm not mistaken. I assume that this is some sort of a Target online thing. I don't know what Geek Out is, but anyway, it is what it is. TFCon Chicago, we got to see more of God Delta, which I think is an interesting take. It is basically the Power Baser, which is their version of like God Jinrai or God Ginrai, and it's done in the Delta Magnus colors. So I think it looks really cool. Actually, I think the blue Optimus core is beautiful. And I really think the colors come together nicely. It's a TFCon Chicago exclusive, I think, to about 600 pieces. So it's going to be rare, but if you're going and if you can get your hands on it, I think you should. Chung Toys, or Kang Toys as most people know them, showed their Legends class Tantrum. I think it looks better than their highly stylized full-size Tantrum. That being said, this was a gray prototype. I think the animal mode looks better than the robot mode. I think the robot mode looked kind of stylized. I'd like to see colors on it because I thought the dive bomb looked really cool. And then when I saw the colors, I was like, that's really stylized colorization. I don't know if I'd recognize that as dive bomb if I didn't already know. So I'm interested to see what they do with Tantrum. I find it so strange and so interesting that they're doing two versions of Predaking. One for the Legend scale, one for Masterpiece scale, I guess, or Titan scale or something. It shocks me that the only one who has done one anywhere close to, say, a regular mainline scale is Unique Toys. Theirs is the closest to that same sort of scale. Very interesting. We saw the English translation of the Velocitron comics where they're doing the race to choose a new leader. And who wins? Override. I mean, wasn't Override already the leader of the planets? Kind of anticlimactic. Apparently, Scourge is going to file an appeal and they're going to have to race again. This is the weirdest comic. It's so strange. I'm sorry. I still don't buy a whole planet where all they do is race. Get real. It's not for me. The fiction's not for me. I think the plastic is great. I'm just not digging the fiction. Titan Changer Optimus Primal we saw. That looks like a big turd. It's awful. I think Input was giving it maybe even more credit than it deserved when he was talking about it. I think these things stand somewhere around 9 inches, maybe 8 inches. I mean, they're big, but I mean, they're garbage. So it is what it is. The Optimus Primal looks terrible in robot mode. It looks terrible in gorilla mode. It looks terrible. What a waste of plastic and packaging. New Age, Battle Damage, Starscream, I already talked about. We saw images of Legacy, Core Class, Bomb Burst. I love it, mostly because the only Bomb Burst I have is the little Power of the Primes dude. And I mean, let's be realistic, those weren't very good. So I'm happy to have this. I loved Iguanas, and I think Bomb Burst being kind of like a second tier pretender. I think doing him as a core makes sense. I like the look of the vehicle mode being that plane mode. I like the look of the robot. I'm in for Bomb Burst. By the way, the countdown question this week is up. The voting ends tomorrow night at midnight. And the question is, who do you think is the one best pretender? And there have actually been a lot. So think about it. Cast your one vote. Not 3 names, not 5 names, not 10 names, not 2 names. One. Iron Warrior showed a grayscale basically of their deluxe scaled Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime. This is a non-transforming version of him. It looks very true to the animation. He has his mouth, not his face plate or his battle plate or whatever it's called. He will stand 29 centimeters. He will have some die-cast parts, and he will have LED eyes and whatnot. And yeah, he's face plateless. So if you want a deluxe sized Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime, and you're okay with it not transforming, I mean, this one looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I like the face sculpt on it. I think the face sculpt on it is pretty darn great. Let's see. What else do we have here? We saw some like Legacy Wave 3 images coming from Takara Tomy. Nothing new there that we haven't seen before, really. Plus, we saw Velocitron Wave 1 on display at their Hobby Expo. And we saw Wave 3 on display at the Hobby Expo. I mean, again, Point Blank looks good. Crankcase looks good. Dead End looks kind of crap. Skullgrin, I think looks okay. A lot of people hate it though. They showed their Wave 1 of Velocitron, big deal. Studio Series Fallen was on display though at Takara Tomy Hobby Expo, and he looks great. He looks big. We saw Core Class Ratchet and Wheelie on there. We saw Studio Series 86 RC and Ironhide, and they're kind of the same height pretty much. Ironhide's a bit bigger, but here's the thing that really got it for me. If you look at the Ironhide Voyager Ironhide next to the Thundercracker, and we know now the Bumblebee movie, Thundercracker, Starscream, Thrust mold. It's a great Voyager. It's a big robot. It's an intricate Tetrajet type of mode. The Ironhide comes up to about his tummy. That is not, I'm not feeling Voyager at all for this Ironhide. Not even a bit. It's coming up to what is a Voyager. It's coming up to a Voyager's tummy. I don't know. I think it'll be an okay Ironhide. I think that this is a case of he's a popular character, so we're going to overcharge for him, and we're going to use the excuses of paint and parts count. And fans are going to be suckers and suck it up and buy them anyway. I honestly think that's how that corporate meeting went. I love the Fallen. I think the Thundercracker looks great. The more I see of that Ironhide, the less I'm digging it. Crosshairs, he was on display. I think he looks great. The Age of Extinction Galvatron was on display. He looks all right. The Hot Rod is a small, real small deluxe, but he looks really good. Sideways looks really good, but I feel like both Hot Rod and Sideways are pretty darn small. To each their own. You need to make that choice for yourself. Um, let's just check in with you guys here for a few moments. Not much has been said here. Let's see. 86 sludge is garbage. My shoulders were yellow out of the box and the ratchets were non-operative. Everything falls off. Your copy of Sludge is sad, Andrew, and unfortunately there are many copies like it. I was lucky. I have no yellowing and nothing has yellowed at this point. All of my ratchets and joints work great. My Sludge is exactly the way he's supposed to operate. And if you have a copy that works the way it's supposed to, he's fantastic. Unfortunately, if you have one like Andrew has, it's going to be a hot, steaming pile of garbage. And that's the problem. There's no consistency with the QC. That's a major issue as far as I'm concerned. I'm sad for you, Andrew, because Sludge is my favorite Dinobot, and I'm really, really sad, but that's not mine. Now, I can relate to you because my Velocitron Road Rocket was like that. Hot garbage. Nothing fitted. Everything fell off. I had to fix everything. I feel it because I've had a similar mold, but it wasn't my Sludge. Nest Bone Crusher in a nutshell. Hello, my fellow Autobots. Is Armor Hide. I mean, I guess. How about the Nest ones are just gray, boring repaints that I have zero interest in. One of our GameStops has like 6 of the Nest Bumblebees. They've had them now for about 2 weeks. You know how many have sold? 0. The 6 are still just taking up space on the shelf because people are sick of Bumblebee, and this is an ugly one. Even though it's a great mold, the Jeep mold is a great, great mold. Override is my favorite Fembot. I like Override. Honestly, I mean, I don't know jack about the character, but I thought the Velocitron Override was great. I think the original Override is great. I did miss your super chat. I didn't see a super chat. That usually comes up on the top of, like up next to where it says like live chat. Nothing came up there. Strange. I am sorry, Dragonfly, if I missed that. Got a small storm coming my way. Well, be careful then, Grimlock gone. Hey, MK. Yeah, we're safe, buddy. We're safe. We were lucky here. Anyone thinks we would get a deluxe buzzworthy Ratchet because he is just Bumblebee's doctor? I won't hold my breath for it, but I mean, you never know. Well, I did sing the "Oh no, oh no, 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 no" song when I saw that Optimus Primal. Fair enough. Fair enough. That Ironhide is Hasbro testing the pricing again. Yes, Input, you're right. Just like they did with 86 Hot Rod, which they are now re-releasing without the Matrix and without one of the blast effects, but they're still charging a Voyager price, which has, at least here, gone up. So they're literally charging you more for the same thing with less accessories. Literally $8 more. No, sorry, the Velocitrons are a little less. $5 more. That's not good economics to me, baby. My Sludge is pretty good, but the wing flaps are flimsy and fall off really easy. Yeah, I don't have any of that. I must have been really lucky. Those 6 Bumblebees would be great to use as auto troopers. I mean, why do I need auto troopers? I have about 800 Transformers, about 400 Autobots. I don't need auto troopers, especially at $40 a pop. I mean, I'm just saying, 4 times 6, boys and girls, let's do some math here. 4 times 6 is 24. That would be $240 plus tax for a bunch of ugly gray Bumblebees. No, thank you. Maybe if they were $15 and I could get them all for $60, I might. 86 Ironhide has one unforgivable sin. One, he has a number, but okay. The single flip up skirt piece for the hips. Yeah, I saw that too. That should have been 3 pieces. Bumblebee movie Soundwave had this, and it's super annoying. I said could be. Well, you're right. It could be. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but you're right. It could be. I just got Tarantulas, Wild Rider, and the '07 movie 5-pack. I hope your 5-pack is good. I've heard a lot of issues with that 5-pack eyes. Man, my fingers are crossed. I really, really hope yours is good. Mostly because I want everybody to have a good experience with their products, right? We saw some images of DK3 Breaker. It's the blue Trail Breaker. I mean, it's fine. It's a great mold. I love it. I don't think I like it in blue. I love it in black. I don't know if I'm feeling it in blue though. Coming out of again the Takara Tomy Hobby Expo, we saw the Raiden prototype. Who saw that coming? The entire put together Raiden prototype. One of his feet looks proportionate right. The other one, the rounded one, looks gigantic. Like it looks too big to me. Otherwise, he looks okay until you get to the back. To me, the back looks like it got a lot of junk there. He does look bulky. He does look hefty. I think even if he's the height of other combiners, he's not the mass. He's definitely a lot more mass. I would be very interested to know if he is more mass or if the Moon Studio is more mass when put together, because the Moon Studio is a lot cleaner, but I don't feel like it's as deep of a combiner as this Raiden. Um, while those who collect Masterpiece have said this is far too small for a masterpiece, and I tend to agree with you, I think when you have it all put together, I think that's where you'll say, here's your masterpiece value. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a masterpiece guy, so what do I know? Some sightings here in Canada. Buzzworthy, Rise of the Beast, Energon Igniters, Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, also cited in the US if you want some junk, ugly, trash, poorly painted Energon Igniters. I'll call it toy accurate. Pterosaur is out at Toys R Us in Ontario, apparently, as is the 4-pack, as is apparently Red Cog. Now, just because it's in Toys R Us in Ontario doesn't mean it'll come here ever. Who knows? But we shall see. But yeah, the Pterosaur, the Red Cog, the 4-pack, and the buzzworthy Rise of the Beast, Energon Igniters, Optimus, and Bumblebee, all out at Toys R Us in Ontario if you live in Ontario. And the last piece of news takes us to the listings, and then we'll do the very quick unboxing and we will get out of here. Before I do the listings, though, and to check in with you guys, how about we get this week's trivia out of the way? We'll do the trivia, the listings, and then the unboxing and get out of here. Here's the trivia. This one comes to us by our buddy Sam Dermody. And I think I'm saying his name right because I used to say Dermody, and I think he corrected me on it. Sam had an excellent question. Listen very closely, ladies and gentlemen. Listen very closely. Here we go. In the novel Transformers Retribution, one of the Constructicons had his name misspelled. Which was it? By the way, this is the only appearance of the Constructicons in the aligned continuity. So within that continuity, this mistaken name is the name of this particular Constructicon. So who had the mistaken name? Was it Scrapper as Scraper? That's A. B. Mixmaster as Mixer. C. Long Haul as just Long. D. Scavenger as Scavenge. Or E. Yes, we have an E choice tonight. Bone Crusher as Crusher. So was it Scrapper as Scraper, Mixmaster as Mixer, Long Haul as Long, Scavenger as Scavenge, or Bone Crusher as Crusher? A, B, C, D, or E? Let's go back and see what you guys say, and then we'll get down to your answers there. Let's see. We mentioned the corporate man last week, and the server blew up, right? Wheelie and Scourge just got delivered. Nice, nice. My shoulders are yellowing. Oh, wait, I had a yellow shirt. My sludge is pretty good. The wing flaps are loose. Those 6 bumblebees, yeah, they could. I'm sticking with Earthrise, Ironhide, and Ratchet. Me too. That's my plan. I don't care that they parts form. The OG G1 did that as well. It's not an issue. I still make DC's Army Drone as Ironhide. I have one that, but bad news, his leg panels pop off, so I could keep them off till then. I guess you could. I'm lucky. I haven't had any issues with any of the leg panels on my Siege or Earthrise guys. Though I know a lot of people did. I was lucky there that I didn't. Go Hoist ended working for McDonald's, then to Walmart. What? I don't know what that means. The fact Hasbro is padding the Studio Series 86 line with characters that are on screen for seconds and die is kind of messed up business to me. In fact, that's the first ones that they've done for the movie, really. The Raiden is a Kibble King. Yeah, it is kind of a Kibble King. I'm not going to lie. Never had the opportunity to get Earthrise, Ironhide, and Prowl. I would understand you getting the 86. But again, they know you're going to get the 86 too. So they're saying, let's charge Voyager price because he's going to buy it anyway. We know he's going to buy it anyway. And you know what? You know you're going to buy it anyway. Right? And that's what they're preying on. Wait for a sale, man. Wait for a sale. I give respect and I agree, but I grew up the era Ironheart was a pickup and Ratchet was a green ambulance. Yeah, but they're not. They're not. Ratchet's not a green ambulance, and Ironhide was never a pickup. They shouldn't have done that in the movie. They probably should have, like, I don't know, looked at the source material. Just saying. Novels, yeah, there's 3 of them, I believe. Redemption, Retribution, Redemption, and Exodus, I think, and they're all like a prequel to Transformers Prime, basically, right? Sorry if you heard me swallowing there. I get so dry, man. Never read the novels, neither have I, but I'd like to. Let's see here. We have a bunch of A's, we have an E, we have an I don't know. We have a lot of guessing going on. Long haul is long. A long con. Scrapper into scraper sounds likely. Only Transformer books I read were the soft cover books as a kid. I think you mean the Ladybird books. Most of us did. The answer, my friends, was in fact C. Long haul to long. Good for you, Keldeo, for knowing, buddy. Good for you. Uh, Bay didn't give a slag what the Transformer source material was. No, he didn't. He didn't care. It's known that like he never watched it. He never looked at it. He didn't care. It was a paycheck to him, and that's sad. All right, our last piece of news is a few listings, and I'll do this fairly quick. There are a number of listings for Terran. I assume Terran must be Earthspark, would be my guess. We have 2 Terran that are subtitled More Than Meets the Eye 1, whatever the subtitle would mean there, with the code names Marble and Gabbro. I feel like I've heard these names before. I don't know who Marble and Gabbro are, but I can tell you that these 2 Terrans with the sub name of MTMTE, both retail in Canada for $49.99, which is about Voyager price. So whatever Marble and Gabbro are, they might be Voyager price or they might be gimmicks. Terran Deluxes, so I'm going to say Earthspark Deluxes, look to be $29.99 in Canada. Warriors, which I guess will be a lot like the Warriors we have with Cyberverse. They look like they're going to be $22.99 Canadian. I don't think Warriors are worth that. There's a 0A TF Gen Collab 5. We've heard about this. That's $59.99. Whatever the Gen Collab 5 is going to be, which I guess is the next collaboratives. I'm going to guess it's a deluxe. The deluxes here have been $59.99. Yeah, I know. Insane. Like that's what Gigawatt was. He was $60 Canadian plus tax. There's a listing. Somebody mentioned it earlier. I hope that we do see this revealed at Pulsecon. But there is a listing in a computer system for a store for, drumroll please, 86 Snarl. So 86 Snarl definitely happening. The listing is there. Then we have 2 Generation Selects listings. One is just Gen Selects 1, $35.99. That'll be some sort of a deluxe. I don't know what it will be. Then I think this one's very interesting. Gen Selects 2, Generation Selects, for $299.99 Canadian. I am thinking this has to be a Titan. Now, I've heard 2 rumors of what the Titan could be. One is Omega Doom. I don't think it's Omega Doom. I really don't. I think people are just saying that because they've had shattered glass on the brain and that sort of stuff. I don't think it's going to be an Omega Doom. I have also heard that it could be like a bluish Sentinel recolor of the Siege Omega Supreme. I could believe that. I absolutely could believe that. I don't know for sure, but I absolutely could believe that it could be an Omega Sentinel, basically, right? I don't know what they would call it, but I could totally believe it for sure. Swoop would come with all of the missing weapons for the other Dinobots. That'd be cool, actually. Jen selects Metro Titan. I mean, I guess it could be. I guess it could be a Metro Titan. I think that if that's going to be the case, I think it would still end up being a repaint of the Cybertron Metroplex. I don't know. We'll see. But it looks like we're going to have a Selects Titan and a couple of those Terrans for $49.99. Marble, Gabbro, possibly Voyagers. Time will tell. Let's do the unboxing and then let's get out of here and head into our weekends, respectively. So, only one thing. I want to thank both Maximal 10 and Ultra Megatronus really for this, because in a roundabout way, both of them have had a hand in me being able to take a look at Baboom Elita 1. I did not get her originally myself, but I do have her in hand now. She's definitely interesting. I still think Minerva. I still think that is the intended use of this mold. I do like the transformation mostly, though I don't know why these are up. I feel like they should just be down on her back somehow. In fact, for me, I tend to, and I guess I'll do it now since I'm here. Much like with Wild Rider, like I tend to just leave the hood as one piece and just take the whole thing down on her back. I feel like that's closer to G1 personally. A little boxy on her back, kind of RC-ish on her back, but not hateful. And I find it really, really funny. A lot of people have said, "Oh, she's great. She's an excellent Alita." And when you put her in vehicle mode, she has her feet just hanging out on the back. So my question is, why is having feet hanging out on the back okay for Alita, especially when her feet are like pink and don't even match? But everybody jumps down the throat of Earthrise, Ironhide, and Ratchet, whose feet at least match the color. I'm just saying, seems like a double standard, if you ask me. But she is a neat little lass, nevertheless. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Tomorrow will be APC Toys Night Countess. A couple of people asked what I thought of her. You'll find out tomorrow. I am so happy that you guys came here. I really appreciate when you come by and give me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube at any time and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. Also, don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single one of you, each and every single solitary day you do make a difference in the world. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either right here in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way inside the videos.